pair sought information for a living. That is to say that ever since he returned from Korea, after having served with the armed forces, he had been working as a private investigator in Montreal. William Hamilton, a rich industrialist, had gotten in touch with him regarding a simple vandalism issue. Nothing to write home about. Not worth hiring a private eye either, just so he can drive for hours on rough roads. But that's how it had always been. The client pays, Carl gets it done.
I'm driving.
They had set up to meet at the general store, his client's business. Well, actually, the entire village had William Hamilton's name written all over it. When the roads were bad, muddy, or snowed in, it was customary around these parts to close them off. But it was also customary to ignore those signs entirely and drive there anyway. Emperor Duplessis, in spite of his conservative agenda, did a good job in colonizing the rural north, which helped to re-establish the region as an integral part of the province of Quebec. The blue fleur-de-lis could be seen fluttering in the wind here and there, taunting the red Canadian flags on the other side of the province's boundaries. The Polaroid, Carl's long-standing and faithful ally, had seen its share of husbands caught red-handed cheating. There's always something out there waiting to be snapped away. Hamilton never mentioned a road-blocking barrier. Why was it needed here in the back of beyond? That would, however, be a mystery for another day. Carl had waited long enough for someone to come and raise it. Hamilton is waiting for Carl in the general store. It was time for him to get down to business. William Hamilton enjoyed a lavish country house built in the very heart of the northern forests, not too far from here. The local populace was divided when it came to the affluent man. Some saw a wealthy philanthropist dedicated to improving the region's economy. Others, an hard-charging Englishmen who would do anything to further his fortunes. And those ones hated him enough to go on about scheming against him. Hamilton had recently acquired a few local businesses, but the last straw was the reopening of a mine, which gave rise to a wave of protests and threats from the Cree people. Given these circumstances, Carl reckoned that a good number of people must be feeling compelled to oppose Hamilton in one way or another. So far, only the industrialist's house had been a target, but soon enough, Carl thought, the target would become the man himself.
Έλα, step out.
Now wasn't a good time to wonder about. Hamilton was still out there. Carl was dying to stretch his legs, but he had to stay focused on the task at hand.
Δεν μπορούσα να σταματήσω, ρε.
Now wasn't a good time to wander about. Hamilton was still out there.
I can get out. Ναι, εντάξει. Πω.
Carl needed to get out of there. The cold and the pain required urgent care.
Okay. My creo, okay.
The driver had taken off. It was still best to check it out and leave nothing to chance. Carl needed help. It was so cold. Already Carl did not feel his toes anymore.
Έλα, ρε.
even better than he had hoped. Karl Faubert had succeeded once more, and was now on his way to new adventures.
Ω, ξύλο. Πού θα βρω ξύλο? Πού θα βρω ξύλο?
Karl's scout training was buried deep in his memory. What do you need again to start a fire? The cold was burning Karl. He would not hold up much longer. He had to warm himself.
Πού θα βρω ξύλα ρε μαλάκα? Α.
This deep in the country, his last hope was to find an abandoned garage or a farm by the roadside. His life depended on it. Was dying to stretch his legs, but he had to stay focused on the task at hand.
Έλα ρε σταμάτα, let me go
Karl's
out.
military training had made him a very
Military
punctual
school,
man.
stupid thing.
Being late to his meeting with Hamilton was out of the question.
Ω. Επίτηδες το κάνανε έτσι. Ο δρόμος φαινόταν να στρίβει αλλού ρε μαλάκα.
Spread out on a few acres of untouched forest, bellowing caribou, everlasting snow, and undefiled lakes, the Manistan region was no tourist hub. It was said to have been populated for millennia by Cree people, and ever since the industrial era, by the metal mining industry.
Τι, να πάω Μαναστάν τώρα? What happened? Why my game is laggy? What the fuck? Oh!
Carl was dying to stretch his legs.
Ρε μαλάκα, why is so stupid this game ρε? What the fuck is that?
The truck was running on fumes.
Well,
Good thing that the general store was close by.
why you give me to drive? I can't make nothing. How I make pause? I need to make pause. This game don't have pause?
Carl had no trouble recognizing his employer.
That is pause now? Or not?
He had been killed. There was no...
I need to go. Give me... I'm back. I don't know good English, guys. My English is bad. I don't know. I can't play this game.
Need to be... figure that out. But only a detective could have noticed that the killer had to have been very close. That the fatal blow had been given before the victim even realized. An explosion suddenly occurred outside.
Εγώ είδα τέτοιο και εκεί στο άλλο αμάξι. Στο... You can't take another one?
According to that log, it seemed like the whole village owed some money to the general store. Carl was far more interested in the bunch of nearby addresses he had just gotten his hands on, though. Carl knew that Gilles Lachance was in charge of the general store. That made him one of Hamilton's employees. A very angry employee, as Carl could plainly see.
Oh, minimum 2. Minimum 2 punch.
What could be inside that envelope? Carl was taken aback. He knew this address. It was said to be the address of the P.O. box for the Canadian Secret Service. A radiator without power is as good as a wood stove without logs. Carl felt a chill down his spine and had a terrifying realization. If Hamilton was dead, then who was going to pay him? Maintaining his composure, Carl recalled something from his military training. Wolves always stay away from populated areas. Wait, was it about bears? Staring intently at the controls won't be enough to make that lift budge. The poor thing was out of power. The crowbar was stuck under the lift. Notwithstanding Carl's imposing stature, car lifting wasn't part of his skill set yet.
Το κολόδι πού πάει ρε μαλάκες? Από κάτω.
The crowbar was stuck under the lift. Notwithstanding Carl's imposing stature, car lifting wasn't part of his skill set yet. Carl felt that the store and its surroundings still held their secrets, and he didn't like to miss out. Carl was used to strange phenomena, but a chunk of ice like this, as if an iceberg came out of the ground, that was a first. Prince? Carl found a surprise at every turn. Was the camera faulty, or was it a possible lead? Carl wondered what the hell could that thing be. It looked like a man fossilized in ice. All of a sudden, Carl felt inside a world of dreams, a cold, unknown dimension. Somehow, self-control was slipping from his grasp. To all appearances, this was a hunting log. Better yet, a war diary. What could these engraved numbers mean? A fresh path suddenly appeared before Carl. Carl had that feeling you get when you immerse your frozen hands in hot water. What happened? Okay. Now at least he knew who the unfortunate man petrified in ice was. Gilles Lachance, the general store's manager himself. That had to be the worst parking job ever. Who was Carl to judge, though? It may be customary to park like that around these parts, or not. milkman had to drive by every week to fill the bottles. The fresh milk indicated a recent visit. Something fell to the bottom of the box. Surrender their divine nectar so easily. In all likelihood, they had to be switched on from inside the store. Amateur hunters showing some pride at having killed a nice pelted beast. With men like this roaming the area, wolves would become extinct within 10 years, Carl thought. A nice picture of the Magasin Lachance store, seemingly taken the day it was first opened.
Oh.
It feels frozen in time, from an era long forgotten.
Oh, no, we shot.
Staring intently at the controls won't be enough to make that lift budge. The poor thing was out of power. note explained that the garage and the store couldn't be supplied with electricity at the same time. Staring intently at the controls won't be enough to make that lift budge. The poor thing was out of power.
Okay. Oh my god.
It was so cold. Already Carl did not feel his toes anymore.
Magazine garage. Okay. Mains. What means mains? Electricity from generation. Power line. I don't understand, raga, moti putana. Man, what the fuck? What I don't understand, I don't know. Magazine store, garage. Opare.
The note explained that the garage and the store couldn't be supplied with electricity at the same time.
Yeah, what? What you doing?
The note explained that the garage and the store couldn't be supplied with electricity at the same time. The note explained that the garage and the store couldn't be supplied with electricity at the same time.
Here, why don't? Oh.
Carl was no electrician, but he could identify a wiring problem when he saw one.
Okay. No, you speak to me. Okay. Motherfucker.
At long last, the crowbar was within Carl's grasp. Surely it would come in handy at some point. Surrender their divine nectar so easily. In all likelihood, they had to be switched on from inside the store.
The key? Where is the key?
Diligent in his work, always carried his log on him, in which he scribbled down thoughts and leads alike during the course of his investigations. Straight away where to find the infuriated Gilles Lachamp. Any good investigation would have to start there.
Why make safe? No. Αφού το άνοιξα και πριν. I don't understand. Seven, 3-9. Where I put this code?
The murder weapon. What was that doing there, Carl wondered. Hamilton must have been determined to keep some information secret to post this key. Shame he got unlucky.
No?
Everything made sense now. Poor Hamilton's denunciation was interrupted, and he figured it would be best to lock everything up and send the key to his correspondent, who would receive the box later on. Clever, but not enough. That's what happens to ordinary people playing spy.
I think I go now, yeah?
Carl was beginning to know the store and its surroundings like the back of his hand. The seeker had sought.
Where is it? The game is little stupid, but what I do?
Finding a locked door in the country is not that big of a deal. Carl knew a key had to be hidden nearby. In spite of Dr. Beaupre's goodwill, the place didn't look much like a physician's office. It could easily be mistaken for a sewing shop. The injured could be recognized by the large stains of red, an informal nickname given to Merbromen, smudged all over their injuries. Doctors used light-reflecting frontal mirrors to look inside the patient's cavities. That was a bit unsettling, but back then, it was pretty much always the case with medicine. The good doctor, flanked by his beautiful spouse. Pure happiness, captured on cardstock. Carl recognized this woman's soulful eyes. Was it Dr. Beaupré who had hit him head-on at the village border? Dr. Beaupré had done his medical studies quite far from here. He was surely one of the first students out of the new campus to settle on the mountainside.
You speak so much, Malaka.
A communist manifesto. Only a few years ago, this type of allegiance meant prison time. And even at present, the Western world was very wary of the Soviet threat. Why would the doctor own such a book? Nobody kills a rich patient to start a revolution. He had to dig deeper still to understand. Luckily, that was Carl Faubert's specialty. A chamber pot. Fortunately for Carl, inspecting it wouldn't further this particular investigation.
Ναι, και πιο πίσω βρήκα τέτοιο και μου το παράτησες.
Someone had lost a few liters of blood here. Carl's first thought had been a lumber accident, someone's hand cut by a saw, or a hunting accident. In any case, whoever had lost all this blood couldn't have gone far. Perhaps they were already dead. Carl got the trembles as he imagined the excruciating pain that kind of scalpel could no doubt inflict. Within these miserable walls, patients probably felt more like in a slaughterhouse than in a doctor's office.
Close this malakere. I need the bottle. Έλα, I have bottle. What is this? Wine. Magnet.
For the one-eyed, or for other vision problems, the eye patch was the way to go.
Here I need the bottle, and here I need magnet. I don't know from what, but
Great care had to be taken searching this place full of oddities. Everything was important. The decor itself told a story.
Oh, mon bonhomme! Je m'attendais pas à ce qu'un étrange retentisse par ici. Moi te dire, je prends plus de chance depuis que ça rôde dans ce bout-là. J'ai ma carabine au bout du doigt, et puis bang, 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 si ça s'approche. C'est encore beau. Tout ce qui est vieilli est bien meilleur. C'est vrai, le jeune, que tu te promènes quasiment en bobette. Une bonne police.
Take the jacket, stupid
Mais je
guy.
vais te dire une chose. Dans ton coin de pays, comme par ici, on n'a rien sans rien. Il est où, mon caribou? Ah, la belle pétarade. En 17 que c'était. Et le Kaiser, il se souvient de moi avec ma belle carabine. Bang, bang, que je lui disais. Bang, bang, bang. Ah, le bon temps. Et la Corriveau, Batèche, ça te passe l'envie de te marier, la Corriveau. Elle tuait tous ses maris, squick, les uns après les autres. Pas de pitié dans le mariage. Touche pas à ça, l'enfant, tu pourrais te faire mal. Ben oui, une couche. Tu peux-tu tout faire en même temps, toi?
I think something happens here inside.
Gomme-moi la belle rose de la tulipe, qui se donne au yob sur le mercredi des cendres. C'est-tu pas effrayant?
Gimme.
Si tu veux du linge chaud, parce que t'es habillé comme un gars de la ville, je dirais pas non à une bonne bouteille de caribou. Puis tu pigeras ce que tu voudras parmi mes mécaniques.
I put my gun out. You look my gun? You shoot me? For coat? What is coat?
D'apparence que mon caribou tarde.
Okay. But I need to find the key. I don't find the key. We need the key.
There was so much in this cabin to enrich body and mind. Carl couldn't leave empty-handed.
Tu tu m'amènes un bon galon de caribou, puis on devient amis. Sinon, mon petit gars, tu sors avant que je te sorte.
Give me the gun. Oh, non, t'inquiète.
Cadeau, ça ouvre l'appentis. Prends-la, je m'en fous. Faire ton temps à mes yeux faits.
Hey.
An axe, not too shabby. Carl felt he needed to protect himself.
Oh, okay. Now I understand something for this game. These things I need it later, yeah? How I go there? Oh, jump. I don't know. She jumped. What the fuck? Something I hearing.
The place looked more like a pigsty than a house. A heavy stench of curdled milk, cheap alcohol, and boiled cauliflower filled the air. Rock music invaded the minds of men even in the remotest of places. The man didn't own a turntable, though, so there's that going for him. Back then, in Africa and elsewhere, people were ready to take up arms to stand against the yoke of English imperialism. In Montreal, mailboxes were blown up, abductions were carried out, and violent manifestos were distributed to media outlets. But around here, in the great northernmost, all a man could do is curse out loud against a faraway evil and pray for the revolution to arise. That man, by any reckoning, was from that very stock. You had to be out of your mind to cook up white whiskey at home. The all-surrounding stench of alcohol alone was probably enough to gas a man to death. You had to be out of your mind to cook up white whiskey at home. The all-surrounding stench of alcohol alone was probably enough to gas a man to death. Carl knew right away that the owner of this place wasn't a copper collector. No, this was a junkman's base of operations. The guy definitely seemed like quite the expert in scavenging scrap metal, with or without permission, surely. In the right hands, red metal could sell like hotcakes.
We are ready here. Okay, we have the
Carl
gun.
felt that it was mission accomplished, with the wicked nectar in his hands.
Oh. Thank you. My inverter is full. Okay, wait. Where is? Oh.
Sometimes, and especially around here, people are so possessive with their land, as a dog is with hydrants.
I can entry in this house. Okay. I need to go from another side, yeah?
It was so cold. Already Carl did not feel his toes anymore. Another worrisome victim of this
Fuck.
ice. This one seemingly petrified in action. The poor man, before being frozen, seemed to have been defending the entrance.